Hey folks, I am John Zinser. I'm the owner of Alderac Entertainment Group, and this is...
Hi, I'm Mark Wootton, and I am the lead developer of Thunderstone Quest.
Thunderstone. We are here at the Alderac Entertainment Group Gaming Summit. We've been playing games all week long, and we've got this little area set up so that Mark and I can run through a few turns of the upcoming print and play for Thunderstone Quest.
We're going to try and talk our way through it as best we can, make sure that everybody understands how the game works. For those of you who are Thunderstone veterans, we'll maybe go over some of the differences as we play. We need to start off by saying everything you're seeing here is playtest prototypes. Most of it is not final art, some of it is, but not final art, not final board, not final tokens.
Not final tokens, except for my yellow meeple. Oh! There we go.
Green meeple, I'm always
Yellow
green.
has served me well this week.
Okay, so, you ready?
So, yeah, why don't you start by telling us about the village there, Mark?
Okay, so the village is made up of 4 heroes. When you play through the quests, there's always 1 fighter, 1 cleric, 1 wizard, and 1 rogue. In addition to that, there are 8 support cards, weapons, items, and spells. We have some festering wounds here. We have treasures that you may liberate from the monsters here, and these are the monster decks that will fill the dungeon that you can see here.
Absolutely, and this is the dungeon, one of the highlights of the new version of Thunderstone. The dungeon is set up different from the original version of Thunderstone, which was just a series of cards that you would go deeper in the stronger you were and the more light you had. This dungeon is actually an area of the game board that you traverse to get to the cards that you want to kill. You still have first, second, and third level monsters in the game, and you also have this the wilderness here, which we affectionately call the rat room. You start your turns when you're in the dungeon inside the wilderness. You'll do some things with your cards, which we'll show you for your turn, and then using your light, you traverse deeper into the dungeon in order to encounter not only the monsters in the dungeon, but also the special things that go on in the rooms.
The other thing we have in the village, which I forgot to mention, is the tokens. Now you can buy 3 different kinds of tokens. You can buy what we're calling the iron rations, and when you buy the iron rations, they cost you 2 gold, and you can, as a village action, you can, or a dungeon action, you can cash them in for 1 gold or for 2 skill. Skill is the attribute that you use on the cards here that allows you to equip weapons. You can buy light tokens, and again, you just cash these in when you're in the dungeon, and that gives you 1 light for that turn. And finally, there are healing potions, which are used to heal wounds.
Excellent.
The other thing probably to say is we are just giving you a taster. There are elements in Thunderstone Quest that we are not playing in this game.
Yep.
So the side quests and some of the other
There's going to be some bonus spots on the village board that will allow you to multiply and do other things.
Do other things. So there's a sort of, depending on where you put your meeple on the board, you'll be able to do things. So what we're trying to do though is just give you a how to play the basic game so you can get an idea for
Absolutely. We've decided that the person who has won the fewest games this weekend will go first.
Oh! That does hurt. Okay, so on your turn, each player draws 6 cards. When you look at your cards, you choose whether you want to spend the turn in the village or the dungeon. On the first turn of the game, I am going to go to the village. I have drawn 3 adventurers, 2 daggers, and a lantern. So, in the village, you can use cards for their gold, which is this number in the top right here. You can always use gold on a card. It doesn't have to be equipped. You don't have to do anything clever with it. Gold coins on the card are always available. For my first turn, I think I am going to buy with my 4 gold a short sword. I'm going to buy the short sword. We buy into the discard pile. Now I've got 2 cards which have got interesting features, and I'll take this opportunity to tell you about both of them since it's come up that way. Firstly is the dagger. The dagger is very effective when equipped to adventurers, but as the game goes on, like most starting cards and most deck builders, you'll find that these early cards tend to run out of value. But the dagger has a special ability that when you buy something, you can immediately destroy it and remove it from the game. So I'm going to take the opportunity to do that now. because I don't
Deck
need,
thinning early.
deck thinning early. I don't need to do it for the future. So I'm going to take the dagger and remove it from the game. The second card that is interesting is the lantern. The lantern produces 2 gold and makes 1 light, so it's useful for exploring in the dungeon. But it has an ability that says after you've completed your village phase, you may go and visit the wilderness. You can only visit the wilderness, you can't explore any deeper in the dungeon, but the wilderness is particularly useful if you have lowly adventurers, which I do. So I'm going to immediately move to the dungeon, to the wilderness. I have 3 adventurers, each with 1 attack, and I have a dagger that gives me +1 attack. I am going to choose to draw a card. When the dagger is equipped to an adventurer, as a dungeon action, I can draw a card. I'm going to do this because I know I've only got 3 attack left in my deck, so I won't be able to do it next time.
Right.
And of course I draw the lantern.
The lantern, yes.
So always the way, the one you didn't want to draw. Okay, but I do have 4 attack. The rat has 4 health. The way you beat a monster in Thunderstone quests, like classic Thunderstone, is you have to have an attack value that is at least as high as the monster's health. In this case, I've done this. The rat is not worth any experience points to me, but the wilderness room itself says spoils. You can level up a level 0 adventurer at no cost. The adventurers are considered level 0 heroes. For 2 experience points, you can level them up into any level 1 of your choice. Once you've leveled up a character, you can only level up within that character class, but adventurers you can do anything with. So I'm going to choose to level up this adventurer. So I remove him from the game, and I'm going to replace him with this dwarven fighter here.
For those of you that are keeping score at home, he's already taken 2 of his basic cards out of his deck. Something that Mark loves to do in any deck builder that he plays. So this is not just a Thunderstone strategy for him.
5. So I draw back up to 6 cards because I'd drawn a card on my first turn. I was on 7, so I'm going to shuffle and see if I can get that lantern back in there.
All right, while he's doing that, I'm going to move on to my turn. I unfortunately did not draw a lantern this turn, so I actually need to choose between whether I'm just going to go to the dungeon or if I am going to go to the village. I only got 3 gold on these cards, and so I think I am just going to go to the dungeon. So the Goblin Potion Tester says if you move through this room, gain 1 wound. I don't plan on moving through the room. I might normally stay in the rat room and level up, but since we're only going to play a few turns here, I'm going to jump into the first room here, and I am going to kill me some Goblin Potion Tester.
Okay.
I'm not going to draw a card because I do have the 5 that I need to kill him. Oh, what am I doing there with that green meeple? I'm going to move my little yellow dude in here. Hashtag save the yellow meeple. And kill the Potion Tester. So it goes out of the game.
When we look at the potion tester, unsurprisingly, as part of the reward for killing him, you get a potion,
Excellent.
which will heal any wounds, which is useful because this room in and of itself also gives you a wound.
Excellent.
And then we give you experience points.
I've got a wound on my track here.
The experience points, this guy's worth 2, and this room quite nicely gives you an additional 1 because it's quite a nasty room for a level 1 room.
Excellent.
And so you get 3 experience points, 2 plus 1 from the room, and then we refill with the next monster. I have 3 adventurers, but I don't have the lantern, so I can't do both a village and a dungeon turn. So I think what I am going to do is I'm just going to go to the dungeon. Well, I'm still in the dungeon from last time, so I'm going to stay there. I have 3 attack. Now, my broadsword has a proficiency of 3, which means I need to have a hero with at least proficiency. It has a skill rating of 3, and my hero needs to have at least a rating of 3 in order to be able to equip it. Adventurers, being lowly level heroes that they are, only have a skill of 2. However, my Thunderstone shard does give them +2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the Thunderstone shard to this adventurer, which gives him the ability to carry the short sword, which adds +1 physical attack to him, and together with the other 2, that gives me +4 physical attack. I'm actually going to remain in the wilderness, and I'm now going to level up another adventurer, and this time I am going to take a Hawkswood rogue.
Okay, excellent. My turn again. I've got kind of an interesting turn going here. I drew into 7 gold to start my turn. So I am definitely going to go back to the village, and look to buy a card. I am going to spend 5 of that gold on a magic missile, and I have 2 remaining, which will allow me to buy our first token of the game, which you can buy 1 card and 1 token when you are in the village. So I buy that magic missile, it goes into my discard pile, I keep my token, and then using the lantern, I'm actually going to go back to the rat room, and since I have a dagger, I will equip it to my adventurer, shuffle up my deck, and hopefully I will draw into...
Oh, draw into that 4th attack.
4th attack, so I can level up one of my guys up. Hold on, you know what? I want to do this correctly for the folks at home. What? Oh, I can't do that. I have a choice to make. I could either use my experience points to level up one of my guys, but then I would lose him because he would go into my discard pile when I leveled him up.
Yeah, so you don't have 2
So
attacks.
I'm actually going to choose to do that. I'm going to go to the room. I will shuffle up my deck and draw into my
Boom.
adventure. Excellent. So I will...
So you now have 4 attack,
Yep.
which means you can defeat the rat. So you're going to level up an adventure without cost, and you're going to take...
I'm going to go get a magic user. I'm going to use a little magic user strategy here since I've already got a magic missile in my deck. All right, your turn.
Okay, so I have 2 lanterns and a dagger, so I have 5 gold. I also have my fighter from the previous turn and 2 adventures, so I have a total of 5 attack. So I think I'm going to take the opportunity and I'm going to move forward in the dungeon. So I remain in the wilderness, I equip the dagger, I reshuffle my deck because I'm going to use the dagger's ability that when it's attached to an adventure it allows me to draw a card. I draw a card, another adventure, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attack. So I am going to move here.
6 attack. We're playing a short game, so I think that Mark's doing a little blitzy here so I don't get too far out in front and won't be able to claim another victory here.
So I have another victory. I love the casual way you say that. So he has 4 health, so he's fairly easy to beat. He's worth 3 victory points and a treasure, but he does inflict 2 wounds. So
3 wounds because of the
well,
wound.
3 wounds because of the rune, right? So there are no before the battle, after the battle effects. He has no special abilities, so I do defeat him. So I gain the 3 XP plus 1 from the room is 4.
I'll remove this to our little monster discard
So that's my
pile here.
4 experience points. But I take 3 wounds. Now, when I take wounds, for each 2 wounds, that reduces my hand size by 1.
This is different from old Thunderstone, right? Mark?
So yeah, where the monsters previously would have gone into your deck and sort of clogged your deck up for most of the game, the way that the monsters interact with you here is they wound you, and that makes your deck less efficient. So you have to find ways to get the wounds out of your deck. You do get a free heal in the villages, I'm sure we'll be finding out next turn. So I am going to draw... oh, I got a treasure as well. This is the special treasure deck, and in this case... Son of the Forest. If equipped to a wizard, that wizard is +2 level. Well, you'd like that, right? But that goes into my deck and may change my strategy somewhat. So I now draw 5 cards. 5. Okay.
It is my turn.
It's your
So we refill the dungeon. We got ourselves another Goblin Berserker in there, so I can choose to do something similar to what Mark did. All right, so on my turn, I drew into a couple of adventurers, 3 adventurers, so I've already got 3 attack plus a dagger, which is card draw. I got my magic missile, and I also have a Thunderstone shard. So the Thunderstone shard is sort of a catch-all. It does a lot of things in your early deck. It gives you some proficiency so that your low-level guys can handle some of the weapons that you draw. But it also helps you if you've been wounded just enough, right? So I've got 1 wound right now, which makes the Thunderstone shard perfect. It doesn't hurt my hand size, and I also get to draw a card. So I get 2 cards to draw here. So I think I am going to choose to go to the dungeon because I don't have any light. And I'm going to see what good news I can have happen when I draw my 2 cards. First off of the dagger, oh, excellent, I drew into my wizard, that's a good shuffle. And now off of my Thunderstone shard, I drew another adventurer, which gives me a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for the magic missile.
If only you had some light.
If only I had some light. All right, since we're on a short turn here, I am actually going to go kill me this Goblin Berserker.
Take 3 wounds.
Ugh, painful. All right, I'm going to take my 3 wounds. You have those bad
Yeah.
boys. Thank you. Well, that puts me in a not great situation here. But I've got some village turns coming up, so I'm going to be able to heal these things. Okay, so hold on here. I got my 3 wounds, but I did not get my treasure. My treasure is the firebrand, so
Oh, nice.
that will go into my discard pile.
Actually, firebrand would have been better for me and the...
Yeah. Too bad we can't swap those
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
boys. And did I get my experience points for killing
No, I
that guy?
believe
I
you
don't
did.
think I did. These were
3, 4.
plus 1, 4. Okay,
There you
excellent.
go. 2 twos.
So for those of you that are keeping score at home, the owner is beating the designer.
My turn. I only have 5 cards because I have 3 wounds.
I only get 4 cards because
yeah.
I have 4 wounds.
And so you draw 1 less card for each 2 wounds, but you round in favour of the player. However, I have 2 Thunderstone shards, which work in both the village or the dungeon in terms of wounds. So I am going to be okay this turn. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to draw a card for my wound. I'm in the village. I said that, and I'm going to draw another card for my wound. Now, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gold. Oh, that's tempting. So with my 8 gold, I am going to buy
Rain down the fire.
a fireball,
Excellent.
and I'm going to choose to level up one of my heroes, just to show you how that works. So I have 4 experience points. When you level up a hero, you look at the level you're at, which in this case is level 1, and you add 2 experience points, and that's how much you need to spend. So I have a level 1 hero, so I need to spend 3 experience points to level him up to level 2. I go into the deck, and I find the level 2 fighter. The level 2 fighter says, when weapons equipped to this hero have -1 score requirement and add +1 physical attack for each edged weapon equipped to him.
Ooh.
So that's going to be nice with my short sword and other stuff. So I'm going to pop that there and say go.
I'm starting to be kind of.
Oh, sorry.
This
Sorry,
is
I made a
short
mistake.
game. Oh,
As a village action as well, anytime you're in the village, you can heal 1 wound. I should mention. So I heal 1 wound. That's a village action. I should have done that before I leveled up.
Okay,
So I'm still drawing 5 cards.
I have 4 cards, but I also have a Thunderstone shard. I'm going to go to the village.
Oh.
Thank you very much. Take our little dudes back. Okay, so I've got 4 cards. I'm going to draw a card on my Thunderstone shard in the village, which gives me a lantern, which gives me 7 gold to spend in the village. I am going to use my potion that I purchased before this turn right now, and I am going to heal 1 of my wounds.
And you've got the natural
And
1
I've got the
village.
natural 1 healing from the village, and that will go away as well. Now I've got 7 gold, no way to draw additional cards.
So you could buy another magic missile.
buy
The
another
lightstone
magic
gem
missile.
is very good as well.
What does that lightstone gem
1 light
do?
draw a card, so
It,
it's like a free light.
1 light and draw a card, but I kind of like the deal here. If I draw a magic missile and... Oh, that's not true.
It's,
Do I have anything out there?
actually, you've got 8 if you want it, because you've got the...
Oh, absolutely. So I'm going to use this token that I got from my other quest. Now I've got 8. I'm going to spend 4 gold on a short sword, and I'm going to buy another potion of healing. Potions of healing, they are your friend in this game, right? Because wounds are, they're meant to penalize you, but if you keep your clerics flowing and your potions of healing going, you should be fine. We are back to our Thunderstone game in progress. We've progressed to the near end game state, I think. I've just killed a 2nd level monster, collected my experience points and the like. I've got to get those bad boys over here. I apologize. I've got my yellow meeple who's standing there in the 2nd level dungeon. I'm going to turn over the next card in the deck, and it is a key. So the keys are the game end trigger for Thunderstone. There are 6 keys which are shuffled into the monster decks in different random varieties. You can actually use them as sort of a game length clock if you'd like to. But the standard way is 1 key in the 1st level deck, 2 in the 2nd, and 3 in the 3rd. Right, Mark?
Yeah.
So I have revealed the 3rd key. You can only reveal 1 key a turn, so if you reveal another key on the same turn, you shuffle it back into the deck. And then I've put another hobgoblin guy there, and Mark, it is your turn. You are good to go.
Okay, so I am going to see if I can have a run into the dungeon here. I spent the last turn in the village. So, I have 3 lights, so I'm good to go there. I'm going to draw a card in my Thunderstone shard because I have a wound. So I'm in the dungeon. I draw a broadsword. Okay. So this looks good. I will equip the broadsword to the fighter. I will also use the ability on this now level 3 rogue that I have to discard 2 equipment tokens to draw a card.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so Tome of Knowledge. This isn't going to help me win, but if I do succeed as a spoils, I can destroy that card to level up any hero for no cost.
Okay.
So given that I've got a level 2 hero there, I'm in good shape. So I have 3 light, 1 from the fireball and 2 from the rogue. So I'm going to zoom right the way into this.
So it's 0 light,
0 light,
1 light, and 2 light. So a total of 3 light to get back to that room.
So you can think of your light as almost like movement points. Each point of light is worth 1 movement point, and the rooms have a movement cost, which you have to pay off. So the only thing about this room, there's a nice bugbear elite that I can kill in there with 10 health, and I have 3, 6, 7, 10, 13. But I do have to discard 1 random card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shuffle up. And don't get my level 2 fighter, because that's the only thing that's going to hurt me.
No, I pushed that one out at me. I got the level 3 fighter.
No, you got
level 3 thief.
You
Sorry.
got level 3 thief. But that's okay, I'm still in the room, so I have 6 attack from my fighter, plus 1 from the adventurer is 7, plus 3 from the fireball is
10.
10. Actually, I could have equipped the short sword to my adventure as well, but it didn't really matter. So, I've got my 10 attack, so this is great. I get 7 from the Bugbear Elite. 7 from the Bugbear Elite. He does 2 wounds though, so I'm going to take 2 additional wounds.
Plus 1 from the room.
Plus 1 from the room. So, I'm only going to have 4 cards next turn. Now, as a spoils ability, I can level up a hero paying all costs. But you know what? I'm not going to do that because I drew my Tome of Knowledge. So I'm going to use my Tome of Knowledge. I'm going to cash that in, destroy this card, and I'm going to level up my level 2 fighter into a level 3 for free, so that I get the benefit of all of those experience points at the end of the game, because at the end of the game your experience points are actually your victory points. So I gain, this is 7 plus 2 is 9, and then the room says at the end of the turn I have to exit the dungeon and right back to the village.
Alright, so
I'll
we
forgo that card.
refill that room.
And now I'm only drawing 4 cards.
Excellent. So I am in the dungeon. I'm in the 2nd level here. I have miraculously drawn a hand with 3 spells and 2nd level, first level wizard. My Thunderstone shard and my 1st level adventurer there. So I like to keep a few adventurers around. I don't thin them out of my deck as fast as other players do often. So I am going to draw a card. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get back to this room here. It takes 2 light to get there, which I have. I've got 1 on my fireball, and I've got a torch.
This room costs 1 light, this room costs 1 light, so John's going to have to move this way.
Yep, I'm going to have to move that way. Now the bad news is that this card gets plus 2 health for each treasure present. I know I've got a couple of treasures in my deck, and so I'm going to let Mark cut my deck and see if he can cut me into a treasure to keep me from being able to get to the room I want to go to. So, nope. All right, I drew into another adventure. So I've got a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got exactly what I need to be able to kill that
So you move.
character. I move. I kill him. I take my 2 wounds. wound me?
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so I got a couple of wounds there. And I get 6 experience points for killing him, and a treasure, which I will put into my deck. The lurker there, like a bonus NPC that goes into my deck, right?
Yep.
And then this gets discarded, and then I turn over and reveal the final key of the game. That gets us to 4 keys, and so that would trigger the end of the game. So what happens at this point, Mark? This is definitely new to Thunderstone.
So this is new. At this point, what would happen is the Guardian would be revealed in the wilderness area. And the Guardian is a special monster. The Guardian does not go away when you defeat it. It usually has some sort of spoils ability on it, which can be fairly dramatic. But it's lovingly referred to as the pinata.
Yes, the pinata.
Again, you're getting all of the playtest names because it sits there and each player gets 1 more turn. They can choose to battle the Guardian, and if they do so successfully, they're going to get big rewards. And each player gets 1 shot at the Guardian. You can still, if you don't feel you can manage the Guardian, or even if you feel there might be something that you can deal with more effectively in the dungeon, you get 1 more turn. But when the Guardian appears, you draw 4 additional cards above and beyond whatever your current hand size set is. So, for example, in this case, I've got 5 wounds. So I would normally draw 4 cards. So I draw 4 more, but I get to select the 4 that I want to play with.
Yes.
And then I decide whether I'm going to fight the Guardian or whether I'm going to fight one of the monsters. After each player has had 1 opportunity to fight the Guardian, that's when the game ends.
Absolutely. And then you shuffle up, you pull out new characters and items, and you get ready to play again.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to do a quick recap because I know from when we were playing, there's just maybe a couple of things in terms of people learning to play that perhaps we could have said a bit more clearly. Perfect. So just as a recap, when you're in the dungeon, as John was here, he's in this room, you perform all of your dungeon actions first before you move. So although he performs a series of dungeon actions, those all happen before he moves. You can, if you had a dungeon action that, for example, said, choose a monster and do something to it, you don't have to choose the monster in the room you're in. You can plan in advance and say, I'm going to affect this monster in some way. But you do all of your dungeon actions before you actually move. You then calculate how much light you've got, where you can move to, and move. At that point, your opportunity to use dungeon actions is over. At this point, we're only dealing with the monster abilities and the room abilities. So I just wanted to, because we're trying to make sure people know how to play, I just wanted it to be clear that people understand that you do all of your dungeon actions. Same thing is if you start in the wilderness, if you've been in the village and you go into the wilderness, you perform all of your dungeon actions in the wilderness and then move to where you want to go. And then all you're dealing with after that is the monster ability or the room abilities.
Absolutely. And I would say this is a sort of light setup for how mean the rooms can be. The rooms are a fun part of what we've got going on in Thunderstone Quest. There's a whole lot of interesting interactions with monsters that you normally wouldn't get if you didn't have the special rooms going on. So that's fun.
Yeah, one of the things we've tried to do is as you play through the quests, for people who've not played Thunderstone before, the initial setup tries to deal with straightforward combinations and ease you into the game, and then as you go on, by the time you get to the last quest, things can be more challenging, a little bit more difficult to deal with, a little bit more interesting abilities in terms of unusual sorts of things that are going on.
So listen, if you've already backed Thunderstone Quest, we'd really like to thank you for your support, and we want to let you know that we are super excited that we get to bring this 3rd edition of Thunderstone to bear in the way that we're going to because of your support. If you've been sitting on the fence and sort of waiting about whether you want to back or not, we hope this video has helped teach you a little bit about what's going on with the game, and we really look forward to sharing this game with you and playing with you in the future. Thank you, everybody.